and welcome. I am Lopamudra Moitro and you are listening to my weekly podcast, What's in a Story, where I read stories from my books along with a small introduction about each. These stories are from my work as an anthropologist from across India and South Asia, and the introductions with each story helps to explain different related information about, say, maybe aspects like history, languages and literature, music, trade and economy, festivals, or facts about archaeology, and many other things which are all important to understand or get a meaning or a context of a story. In this second season, we will listen specially to narratives of and about water bodies from Asia, and this will include stories from the smallest of water bodies like wells or small ponds to lakes, rivers, or the sea and the ocean. Let's listen to today's episode in season 2 of What's in a Story. About today's story. Today's story in today's episode connects a larger area across the Indian Ocean as it connects India with the region of Sri Lanka. The name of the story is The Legend of Prince Vijaya, and I read this from my book How the World Was Born, Wondrous Indian Myths and Legends by Aleph Book Company. Now this is a story from the secret text Mahavamsa, the Theravada Buddhist chronicle from Sri Lanka, which mentions the beginning of their history, the history of Sri Lanka, with the arrival of Prince Vijaya and the establishment of a ruling dynasty thereafter. Now this legend from Sri Lanka is also a well-known one and has been variously reflected across different works of art in Bengal and from Bengal. Say one such famous work is a Bengali poem of 8 paragraphs by Satyendranath Datta, who was alive around the period of 1882 to 1922. And the title of this work is Amra, meaning us. This includes a simple reference to the legend in its second paragraph, as it mentions the 2 lines, and I read out here in English. Our son Bijoy Singha, won over Lanka, has left behind marks of his bravery on its soil. Thus, there are many other famous poets and authors who have also composed verses with reference to this specific legend, including Dwijendralal Roy, who lived between 1863 to 1913, even the famous Bengali poet Michael Madhusudan Dutta, who lived between 1824 to 1873, had also gathered and compiled notes in English to write an epic poem about the legend of Bijoy Singha. However, this could not be completed because of his untimely death. Thus, the legend of Prince Vijay, variously referred to in Bengali as Bijoy Singha, is famous across South Asia. However, many critics often question the historical truth behind the story and often just speak about it as being part of local myth or a legend. The Vedda communities of Sri Lanka mentioned in the legend is also spelled as Vedda. They have been accorded indigenous status at present in Sri Lanka and have sub-communities like Coast Veddahs, Anuradhapura Veddas and Bintenne Veddas. Follows the story. The legend of Prince Vijaya, and I read this from my book, How the World Was Born, Wondrous Indian Myths and Legends. The story, The Legend of Prince Vijaya. Long ago, in the capital of Bongo, there lived a king who got married to the princess of Kalinga. The royal couple was soon blessed with a beautiful baby girl, Supa Devi. At her birth, as was the tradition, a soothsayer was summoned and consulted, who mentioned that though the girl will grow up to be very beautiful, she will one day marry the king of beasts. Now both the queen and the king were heartbroken on hearing this. Supa Devi too grew up with a heavy heart, as she was aware from childhood about the prophecy and the very fact that her parents always remained sad because of her. One day, she decided to leave home and explore her life. She was ready to accept whatever came her way. Thus, unrecognized, Supa Devi joined a caravan travelling toward the city of Magad from Bongo. Unfortunately, on the way, a ferocious lion attacked the caravan near Lala country. Something to note over here. This Lala country has been historically variously identified with the Rar region or the western part of the region of Bengal. I proceed with the story. Everyone ran in all directions to escape from the lion. However, Supa Devi remembered her prophecy and started to follow the lion back to the forest. Though the lion was amazed at this at first, he understood that the girl stood fearless in front of him, and it was not long before they fell in love and started to live in the lion's cave. Soon, the girl gave birth to twins, a girl and a boy. The boy was named Sinhabahu, meaning lion armed, and the girl was named Sinha Sivali. Growing up, Sinhabahu understood that his mother was different from his father. And one day, when Sinhabahu was around 16 years of age, he escaped with his mother and sister from the cave in which they stayed. They reached the city of Bongo, and Supa Devi was remarried soon. On the other hand, the king of Bongo had announced a hefty sum as a prize money for anyone who could kill the ferocious lion inside the forest. Sinhabahu killed his own father and brought the lion's head as an offering to the king, who is the grandfather. This grandfather of Sinhabahu and Supa Devi's father, the king of Bongo, rejoiced seeing the lion dead. Thus, soon after that, when the king of Bongo passed away as well, the ministers and courtiers declared Sinhabahu as the new king, seeing how brave he was. However, he handed over the rule to his stepfather, Supadevi's husband, and he retired to the region of his birth, the Lala region. There, he married his sister Sinha Sibali, as was mostly the custom in those days, and established a new kingdom with many villagers. This was the kingdom of Sinhapura. A very prosperous rule ensued, and Sinhabahu, together with his wife Sinha Sibali, bore twin sons 16 times. Thus, Sinhabahu had 32 sons. The eldest name was Vijay, and the second son was Sumitra. A very just and principled king, the subjects admired Sinhabahu as the ruler, and this was a very prosperous rule. Soon, Sinhabahu consecrated Vijay as the prince agent. Vijay was destined to be a ruler soon. However, this went against the wishes of the subjects of the kingdom, as Prince Vijaya had already earned a very bad reputation for his many misbehaviors and conducts across the kingdom. In all of these, he was also accompanied by a band of friends who were equally despised by the people of the kingdom. Thus, all the subjects of the kingdom went and complained to the king about Vijaya's misdeeds. The king warned his son thrice, but yet Vijaya refused to listen, and finally a very angry king banished Vijaya along with his friends and families across the Bay of Bengal. While the men along with Vijaya were sent on a separate ship, the women were sent on a second ship, and the children were deported on a third one. The ships sailed along the waters, and each one is said to have reached the shores of a different island across the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea, giving rise to the very first settlements on each island. The island where the ship of the children reached was the Naggadweep, and the island where the woman landed was the Mahila Dweep. These Mahila Dweep is believed to represent the present Maldives, and thus began the rule of queens in the history of Maldives. On the other hand, the ship carrying Vijaya and his male friends landed first at the island of Subbaraka on the western coast of India in the Arabian Sea. Finding the region unfriendly, they returned to their ship and kept sailing farther, and finally reached the island of Sinhala near the confluence of the Bay of Bengal, the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea. This was Sri Lanka. The 6th chapter of the Mahavamsa ends with the mention of the island of the arrival of Prince Vijaya to Lanka. The following chapters describe the meeting of Prince Vijaya with a Yakhin named Kuveni on the island and the 2 children who were born from this marriage, a son named Jivahatta and a daughter named Disala. Local legends also speak of these children to be the ancestors of the present day indigenous community, the Veddas of Sri Lanka. The following chapters of the Mahavamsa also speaks of how Kuveni's happiness was short-lived, as Prince Vijaya soon married a princess from the Pandyan kingdom of southern India. Vijaya maintained a very cordial relationship with the kingdom of his in-laws, and he ruled for 38 years in Sinhala, but did not have any heir to the throne. Finally, towards the end of his rule, he wrote to his twin sibling, Sumitra, in Singapore, to come and take over the throne. However, Sumitra refused the offer as he too had advanced in age by then, and thus made his son Pandu Vasudev reach Singhal. Pandu Vasudev reached the shores of Lanka and was crowned the king, and it is said that his dynasty ruled for the next 6 centuries in the land.